The Terok exploration vessel glided silently through the darkness of space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight. Commander Darrow stood on the bridge, his tall figure casting a long shadow across the polished floor. His 6 eyes blinked methodically as he studied the holographic display of a small blue-green planet. "Magnify Sector 4, he ordered, his voice deep and resonant. The image zoomed in, revealing continents and oceans in sharp detail. The planet was beautiful, teeming with life and resources, exactly what the Terok Empire needed. "Life signs, Officer Mira?" Darrow asked. Science Officer Mira, smaller than Darrow, but with the same iridescent scales covering her body, moved her long fingers across the control panel. Data streams flowed before her eyes. "Abundant life. Commander, the dominant species appears to be bipedal mammals with minimal natural defenses." Darrow moved closer to examine the readings himself. The holographic display now showed images of the planet's inhabitants, humans. They walked on 2 legs, had no claws, no armor, and blunt teeth. "These creatures rule this world." Darrow clicked his mandibles in amusement. "Nature has played a strange joke here. They have constructed cities and primitive technology," Mira noted, "but physically they appear vulnerable. No natural weapons, no protective exoskeleton, slow movement, poor sensory abilities." Darrow circled the display, studying the humans from all angles. The Teroks had conquered 12 star systems already. Their natural advantages made them apex predators across the galaxy. With razor-sharp claws, armored scales, enhanced vision, and superior strength, they feared no other species. These humans would be no different. "Classification?" Darrow asked. "Herbivores or low-level omnivores?" Mira replied confidently. "Their physical structure suggests they evolved as prey animals, not predators." This pleased Darrow. His people needed new hunting grounds and colonies. The resources of this world would fuel the Terok Empire for generations. "Prepare a reconnaissance team," Darrow ordered. "I want detailed analysis before the main fleet arrives." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. Within hours, a small stealth pod detached from the main vessel and descended toward Earth, its advanced cloaking systems making it invisible to human detection technologies. Team leader Caro led the 4-member squad. They were the best scouts in the fleet, silent, observant, and deadly. Their mission was simple: gather information about Earth's dominant species and identify strategic targets for the coming invasion. The pod touched down in a dense forest far from human settlements. As the door opened, Earth's air filled their breathing chambers. It was rich with oxygen, almost intoxicating. "Breathable atmosphere," noted Tora, the team's tracker. "Good hunting conditions." The Teroks moved into the forest, their adaptive camouflage shifting to match the surroundings. Trees towered above them, birds called in strange melodies, and small creatures scurried through the undergrowth. It reminded Caro of the hunting preserves on their home planet. "Movement ahead," whispered Tora suddenly. The team froze, becoming nearly invisible among the trees and shadows. 3 humans walked along a narrow path, talking and laughing. They carried small packs on their backs, but no visible weapons. Through Terok eyes, they looked painfully vulnerable: soft skin, exposed vital organs, no natural armor. "Such fragile creatures," Caro commented quietly. "How did they become dominant on this world?" The team followed the humans at a distance, recording their movements and conversation for later analysis. The humans never sensed their presence. As the day progressed, the Teroks observed more humans. Some lived in isolated dwellings, others gathered in small settlements. They used simple vehicles and communication devices, nothing that suggested advanced defensive capabilities. But as evening approached, they witnessed something unexpected. A different group of humans moved through the forest. These moved differently, purposefully, silently. They carried long metal objects and tracked a large animal through the undergrowth. When one human aimed the metal tube and the distant animal fell dead, Tora flinched. "Distance-killing tools," she said, unease in her voice. "Perhaps they are not as harmless as they appear." Karo dismissed her concerns. "Primitive technology. No match for our plasma weapons." The reconnaissance team continued their observations into the night. They recorded, they analyzed, they planned, and they remained completely convinced of their superiority over the soft, weak humans. Back on the command ship, Darrow received the first reports. Everything confirmed his initial assessment. Earth would make an excellent addition to the Terrak Empire, and its dominant species would pose no significant threat. How wrong they were. The morning sun filtered through dense forest leaves as the Terrak reconnaissance team moved silently among the trees. Their scaled bodies shifted colors to match the dappled shadows, making them nearly invisible. 5 days had passed since their arrival on Earth, and each day brought new observations about the planet's dominant species. Kuro led his team toward a small human settlement they had discovered the previous day. The cluster of wooden structures sat beside a clear lake, smoke rising from stone chimneys. "Remember, absolute stealth," Kuro reminded his team. "We observe only." Tora, the most cautious of the group, checked her scanning device. 12 humans detected in the settlement. Minimal technology signals. The Terraks spread out, finding hidden observation points around the perimeter. From his position behind a fallen tree, Karo watched humans going about their daily activities. They moved slowly compared to Terraks. Their reactions seemed delayed, and their senses appeared dull. Sometimes a human would pass within meters of a hidden Terrak without noticing anything unusual. They cannot even detect predators right beside them. Karo commented quietly to Naru, his second in command. "How have they survived as a species?" Naru's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. Perhaps this planet had no serious predators before us. Around midday, 3 humans emerged from the largest building carrying the same long metal tubes the Terraks had seen earlier. Karo's interest sharpened. He signaled for his team to pay special attention. The humans moved into the forest, and the Terraks followed at a safe distance. Unlike the casual hikers they had observed previously, these humans moved with purpose. They checked the ground frequently, sometimes kneeling to examine marks invisible to casual observation. "They are tracking something," Tora whispered. For 2 hours, the humans followed signs through the forest that even the Terraks struggled to identify. Finally, the humans slowed and grew more cautious. Ahead in a small clearing stood a large animal with branching horns. The lead human raised his metal tube, held perfectly still, then made a loud explosive sound. The large animal dropped instantly. The humans had killed from a distance of at least 100 meters. "Impressive accuracy," admitted Naru. The humans approached their kill, produced sharp tools, and began processing the animal with surprising efficiency. They worked together seamlessly, preserving useful parts and discarding others. "This behavior," Tora said quietly, "it is not herbivore behavior." Karo flicked his tail dismissively. "Many prey species have learned to use tools. It does not make them predators." Later that evening, the Terrak team relocated to observe a larger human settlement, what humans would call a small town. Here, they saw more advanced technology, vehicles that moved without animals pulling them, lights that glowed without fire, and communication devices that allowed humans to talk across distances. As darkness fell, Maru, the team's technology specialist, directed their attention to a flat, glowing screen visible through a building window. Humans sat watching moving images that showed other humans engaged in various activities. "They are studying combat," Maru observed. The images showed humans in different colored coverings, fighting each other with explosive weapons far more advanced than the hunting tools they had seen earlier. "Are these historical recordings?" wondered Tora, "or current events elsewhere on the planet?" "This will be an easy conquest," Kuro told his team. "These creatures will make excellent hunting sport." The Terraks watched for hours as the screen showed humans using increasingly destructive weapons against each other. Vehicles that moved across land with mounted weapons, flying machines that dropped explosive devices, ships that launched projectiles across vast distances. Perhaps we have underestimated their technological development, Maru suggested. Karo shook his head. These are entertainment simulations. Their actual weapons are primitive. Commander Darrow's initial assessment is correct. They are vulnerable prey species who have survived through tool use rather than natural abilities. The next morning, the team discovered something unexpected. A large complex surrounded by metal barriers. Humans in matching coverings moved with coordination and purpose. They carried smaller versions of the weapons shown on the screen. A defensive installation, concluded Naru. Karo studied the facility through enhanced viewing equipment. Primitive, but organized. We should include this in our report. That night, as the team prepared their findings for transmission to the command ship, Tora voiced her concerns. These humans, they show predator behaviors despite prey physiology. They track, they hunt, they kill efficiently. They organize for defense. They communicate and coordinate. But they are physically weak, countered Karo. No natural weapons, no armor, poor senses, slow reflexes. Yet they dominate this planet, Tora insisted. Should we not question how this came to be? Karo finalized the transmission, which classified humans as a minimal threat, a tool using prey species that would offer little resistance to Terrak invasion forces. Commander Darrow will make the final assessment, Karo said firmly. Our mission is simply to observe and report. The transmission beamed silently to the Terrak command ship waiting beyond Earth's moon. Based on their reconnaissance, the invasion plan would soon be finalized. None of the Terraks realized that their fundamental misconception about humanity would soon lead to disaster. The northern lights danced across the dark sky, casting an eerie green glow over the snow-covered landscape. Nestled among the pine trees stood the Cedar Point Research Station, a collection of 5 buildings where 12 scientists studied climate patterns far from civilization. Inside the main building, Dr. Han examined weather data on his computer screen while his colleagues slept. The station had been his home for the past 8 months. He loved the isolation and the quiet. Tonight, however, something felt wrong. Han looked up from his screen, listening carefully. The wind howled outside, but beneath that familiar sound was something else, a soft, rhythmic clicking. He moved to the window and peered into the darkness. Nothing but snow and trees. Then he saw it, a shadow moving differently than the others, unnaturally. It was tall, with a strange silhouette unlike any animal he knew. Han reached for the satellite phone and began dialing when the power suddenly cut out. The research station plunged into darkness. Lee, Jun, wake up, Han called out to his colleagues as he fumbled for the emergency flashlight. Before anyone could respond, the main door crashed open. Cold air rushed in, carrying with it something far more terrifying. Han's flashlight illuminated a figure that couldn't possibly be real. Over 2 meters tall with an armored, scaled body, 6 glowing eyes, and razor-sharp claws. Not human, not from Earth. Han's training abandoned him. Primal fear took over as he backed away, the satellite phone still clutched in his hand. He managed to hit the emergency broadcast button before the creature lunged forward with impossible speed. Help. We're under attack. Unknown hostiles. Not human. Send. The transmission cut off as a scaled hand crushed the device. The creature stood over Han, studying him with cold, calculating eyes. Specimen secured. It clicked in a language Han couldn't understand. Outside, more shapes moved through the darkness. The Terrak reconnaissance team had decided to capture human subjects for study before the invasion. The isolated research station had seemed perfect, remote, small, defenseless. By sunrise, the Terraks had secured the facility. 11 humans were contained in the main building. One had been killed during the initial capture when he tried to use a small blade against Karo. Prepare for transport, Karo ordered his team. We need to move the specimens before local reinforcements arrive. But Tora, monitoring human communications, detected a problem. The humans sent a distress signal. Response forces are approaching. Kuro clicked his mandibles in annoyance. How soon? Flying machines approaching from the south. Estimated arrival, 20 minutes. Kuro calculated quickly. Not enough time to transport the humans to their hidden shuttle. They would need to eliminate the human response team first. Prepare defensive positions, he ordered. Use full combat protocols. The Terraks deployed around the research station, their bodies changing color to blend with the snow. Their weapons, advanced plasma rifles, were finally removed from storage. After days of passive observation, they would now demonstrate their true power. The human response arrived precisely as Tora had predicted. 3 helicopters carrying military personnel. The Terraks watched as the aircraft landed in the clearing near the station. 20 humans emerge, wearing white winter camouflage and carrying weapons. Primitive firearms, Naru noted dismissively. This will be brief. Karo gave the signal, and the Terraks opened fire. Brilliant blue plasma bolts streaked across the snow toward the human forces. But something unexpected happened. The humans didn't panic. They didn't flee. Instead, they reacted with practiced precision, diving for cover and returning fire immediately. A projectile struck near Karo, sending snow and dirt into the air. Another caught Maru in the shoulder, punching through his armored scales. Impossible. Maru gasped, green blood seeping from the wound. The human soldiers moved with coordination that surprised the Terraks. They communicated with hand signals and small devices, flanking the alien positions methodically. Karo ordered his team to fall back to secondary positions, but the humans anticipated this move. A small explosive device landed near their new position, detonating with a deafening boom. Their weapons are more effective than expected, Tora shouted over the noise of battle. 3 Terraks were down now. The remaining 5 regrouped inside the main building, using the captured scientists as shields. But the human military forces showed no signs of retreating. We need extraction, Karo transmitted to the command ship. The humans are organized. They fight like predators, not prey. The battle continued for hours. The humans gradually tightened their perimeter around the research station, employing tactics that the Terraks recognized from their own military training. As night fell again, Karo realized a terrible truth. His team had been reduced to just himself and Tora. The humans had suffered losses too, but they continued their relentless advance. They hunt us now, Tora said quietly. Karo managed to send one final transmission to Commander Darrow's ship before a human sniper's bullet found its mark. They are not prey. Repeat, they are not prey. Commander Darrow stood motionless before the holographic display, his 6 eyes fixed on the final transmission from Karo. The message played again. They are not prey. Repeat, they are not prey. Static followed, then silence. The reconnaissance team, elite soldiers with advanced technology, had been eliminated by what they had classified as a non-predator species. Impossible, Darrow whispered, his scaled fingers curling into fists. Officer Mira approached cautiously. Commander, the main fleet will arrive in Earth orbit within 3 standard cycles. Should we reconsider our invasion plan? Darrow turned sharply. Reconsider? Because one minor team failed. The Terrak Empire has conquered 12 systems. These humans with their primitive technology cannot possibly stand against our full military might. But doubt had entered Mira's mind. She returned to her station and began analyzing all data collected about humans. Something didn't add up. How could a physically inferior species defeat Terrak warriors? As the massive Terrak fleet approached Earth, the humans were already responding to the encounter at Cedar Point Research Station. In underground military facilities across the planet, leaders gathered to assess the threat. General Ta stood before a table of international commanders, his expression grave. The aliens have advanced technology, but they can be killed. Their bodies have vulnerabilities. Their tactics are predictable. "How many ships should we expect?" asked Admiral Kim. Satellite images appeared on the main screen. Dozens of massive vessels approaching Earth's orbit. "Our advantage is that they underestimate us," General Ta continued. "They see our physical form and assume weakness. They don't understand what shaped human evolution." Scientists had already begun examining the alien bodies and technology recovered from the research station. In laboratories around the world, teams worked frantically to understand and adapt. "Their armor is strong but not impenetrable," reported Dr. Song, holding up a damaged piece of Terok exoskeleton, "and their plasma weapons operate on principles we can disrupt." Within 48 hours, Earth's defense forces had developed countermeasures and distributed them globally. Military units positioned themselves strategically. Civilian populations moved to underground shelters. Humanity prepared for war with an efficiency that would have shocked the Teroks, had they known. The Terok fleet entered Earth orbit with confidence. Commander Darrow stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the blue planet grow larger on the view screen. "Begin the first wave," he ordered. "Target their major cities and military installations." 100 Terok landing ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, their weapons primed. They expected minimal resistance. They were wrong. As the first ships approached their targets, Earth's defense systems activated. Modified missiles locked onto alien vessels. Electronic countermeasures disrupted Terok navigation systems. Human fighter aircraft rose to meet the invaders. On his command ship, Darrow watched in disbelief as the battle unfolded. The landing ships were encountering far more resistance than anticipated. Several had already been destroyed. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Their technology should be no match for ours." Mira studied the incoming data with growing concern. "Commander, they've adapted. They've analyzed our technology from the reconnaissance team and developed countermeasures. In days, impossible." A massive explosion rocked the flagship as a human nuclear missile detonated nearby. The shields held, but several smaller vessels were destroyed. "Second wave, launch immediately," Darrow ordered, his voice rising. "Full attack formation." More Terok ships descended toward Earth. This time, they faced not only military resistance but coordinated global defense systems. Humans had united against the common threat with remarkable speed. In North America, special forces used captured alien weapons against their creators. In Asia, modified defense systems brought down Terok ships by the dozen. In Europe, scientists broadcast signals that disrupted alien communications. Darrow's confidence shattered as reports flooded in. 30% of the invasion force destroyed in the first hour. Another 20% damaged or disabled. "Commander," Mira said quietly, "I've been analyzing human historical data we intercepted. These beings have spent their entire history fighting, mostly against themselves. They've refined warfare for thousands of years." On view screens across the fleet, the Teroks watched in disbelief as human forces methodically targeted their ships, using tactics that seemed to anticipate Terok maneuvers. "They're hunting us," Mira realized, "like predators." A human transmission cut through the Terok communication channels. General Tay's face appeared on the main view screen. "Attention alien forces, you have attacked a united Earth. We offer one chance to withdraw. Any ship remaining in Earth orbit in 1 hour will be destroyed." Darrow's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress. "They cannot possibly have the capability to destroy our entire fleet." But more explosions lit up space around them as human missiles found their targets. Earth-based lasers, clearly modified using Terok technology, sliced through alien ship hulls. "All vessels, retreat immediately," came the order from Terok High Command. The invasion force had lost nearly half its ships in less than one planetary rotation. As the Terok fleet began its withdrawal, Darrow stared at the blue planet below. His species had made a fundamental error in judgment. Humans lacked claws, armor, and natural weapons, but had developed something perhaps more dangerous: adaptability, cooperation, and the predatory instinct to survive at all costs. The flagship's emergency alarms blared as Commander Darrow struggled to maintain control of the damaged vessel. His once pristine command center now lay in ruins, with control panels sparking and crew members rushing to contain fires. "Engine core critical. We cannot maintain orbit," shouted the engineering officer, his scales pale with stress. The retreat had begun too late. While most of the Terran fleet had managed to escape Earth's defensive perimeter, Darrow's flagship had taken a direct hit to its main propulsion system. Now the massive ship was being pulled into Earth's atmosphere. "All personnel to escape pods," Darrow ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Transmit final coordinates to High Command." Officer Mira remained at her station, still analyzing data even as the ship fell. "Commander, we should destroy all information about Terran biology and technology. If the humans capture this ship," Darrow nodded grimly, "initiate data purge. Then get to your escape pod." The ship shuddered violently as it entered Earth's upper atmosphere. Metal screamed against the increasing pressure and heat. Emergency systems failed one by one. Darrow watched as his crew abandoned ship. He should join them, but something kept him at his post. Pride, perhaps, or curiosity about the species that had defeated the mighty Terrans. The flagship crashed in a remote desert region, carving a massive scar across the sand as it came to rest. Remarkably, the main section remained intact, and several dozen Terrans survived, including Darrow and Mira. They gathered outside the wreckage, weapons ready, watching the sky as human aircraft approached. "We will fight to the end," Darrow declared. His remaining warriors formed a defensive circle, preparing for their final battle against the humans who had proven to be such formidable enemies. The human aircraft landed at a safe distance. Armored vehicles approached next, surrounding the crash site. Terran thermal sensors detected at least 200 human soldiers taking positions around them. "They could simply destroy us from the air," Mira observed. "Why send ground forces?" Darrow had no answer. In the Terran Empire, defeated enemies were never shown mercy. It was not the way of predators. A single vehicle approached the ship. 3 humans emerged, only one carrying visible weapons. They walked slowly toward the Terran position, stopping at a respectful distance. "I am General Ta," the lead human said through a translation device. "Are you the commander of this vessel?" Darrow stepped forward, his tall figure imposing even in defeat. "I am Commander Darrow of the Terran Empire. If you intend to kill us, do so with honor." General Tai studied the alien carefully before responding. "We offer terms of surrender that will spare your remaining forces." Confusion swept through the Terran ranks. Darrow's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Why would predators show mercy?" he asked. The human's expression remained firm but not cruel. "Because predators who understand restraint survive longer than those who don't." This concept was foreign to the Terrans, whose evolutionary history had rewarded aggression and dominance. Mercy was unknown in their culture. "What terms do you propose?" Darrow asked finally. "Your surviving crew will be treated according to our laws governing prisoners of war. You will provide information about your species and technology. In exchange, we will allow communication with your homeworld and eventual repatriation of all survivors." Darrow considered the offer. It was more generous than anything the Terrans would have extended to a defeated enemy. "Why not simply extract information through force?" he asked. General Tay's eyes hardened slightly. "We could. We have studied your biology from the specimens we captured. We know your vulnerabilities. But that is not our preferred approach." Another human stepped forward, a female with scientific instruments. "Commander, we wish to understand your species. We believe communication serves both our interests better than conflict." Hours later, after careful negotiation, Darrow formally surrendered his remaining forces. The humans established a secure facility around the crashed ship where they began the complex process of cultural and technological exchange. Darrow was permitted to send a final message to the Terran homeworld. He composed it carefully, knowing it would shape his empire's future understanding of humans. High Command, he began, our assessment of Earth's dominant species was fundamentally flawed. Humans lack natural weapons and armor not because they evolved as prey, but because they developed something more powerful: intelligence that creates technology, social structures that enable cooperation, and cultural values that balance aggression with restraint. The humans are not what they appear. They are predators who evolved beyond simple killing. They are predators who developed mercy alongside their lethality. This makes them not weaker, but more dangerous than we could have imagined. I recommend immediate diplomatic engagement rather than continued military action. The Terok Empire has encountered something unprecedented: a species that understands the strength in knowing when not to kill. In the months that followed, human and Terok representatives began the difficult process of building understanding between their species. They were different in countless ways, yet shared one fundamental quality: both had risen to dominate their environments through predatory excellence. But humans had evolved something the Teroks never had: the ability to recognize when being a predator meant showing restraint rather than force. It was a lesson that would forever change the Terok Empire's approach to the galaxy.